Ecamm Fam, what's good, y'all? Look, in the past 3 years, Ecamm Live has changed my life. And in this video, I'm going to show you how. Let's go. First, a little backstory. Like, how did I even get here? How am I even on this channel? So way back in 2019, I was looking for ways to level up my video for coaching and Zoom calls, and I stumbled across Diana Gladney on YouTube using Ecamm Live. So I hit her up with a couple questions. Next thing you know, I was in the Ecamm Fam. So fast forward a couple months and I posted in the Ecamm Live community on Facebook. That's when Katie commented and said, hey, we don't know what, but we want you to do some videos for it. So I was like, bet. So I did videos on the Canon M50, a video on lighting, a video on microphones, and I also did one about creating graphics in Canva. And since then, I've done a few promotional videos. The cool thing about Ecamm is that I have a similar story to pretty much everybody who's partnered with Ecamm in some form or fashion. We were regular old users at first, and then we were plucked from the community.
I have been chosen.
So as you saw from the title, this is my 3-year Ecammaversary. So here are the 3 main ways that I've used Ecamm Live over that time period that has changed my business and my life, okay? The first way is the virtual camera for Zoom meetings. The second way is pre-recording videos for content creation and course creation. And the third way is, drum roll, live streaming. So I'm gonna go through them one by one and kind of give you my perspective and my use cases for Ecamm, and hopefully it'll help you out as well. So the number one way that I use Ecamm Live is the virtual camera. I pretty much use this on a daily basis, and I primarily use it for Zoom meetings, okay? So I have calls with design clients. So when I first started using Ecamm, I was winning more business, to be honest. When I showed up, like I was showing up on Zoom, one, it was an icebreaker. They'd be like, hey man,
how'd you get your video like that? Is that 4K or something?
Right, you got us over here looking like a hot mess.
it looked like I took my job serious, like I did this full time. The attention and detail that I put into showing up like a professional, that was a preview of the attention and detail that I would take with my clients. So before, when I hopped on these Zoom calls, it looked like I just plopped down on my lunch break. Look, even if that's the case, you still want to show up like a professional. Why? Because one, it sets you apart from everyone else. And two, it gives me a leg up. Like subconsciously, it turns the tables from me trying to win their business to them hoping I'll work with them. So Ecamm is a sizzle. Of course, I provide the stake on the Zoom, so if they get all that at once, it's a no-brainer. So I also use Ecamm Live's virtual camera for group coaching calls and one-on-one coaching calls. But this is a hack, y'all. I hit record inside of Ecamm every time I'm on a Zoom, just so I can have the high quality video to repurpose it in cool ways, or just to have it if I want to do something with it in the future. So speaking of hacks, this is a bonus way that I've used a virtual camera recently that was really dope. So I did a remote acting gig for an ad recently, right? So the director and the production people were on a Zoom call, and I was using a virtual camera so they can see me and how the shots would look. So I was recording into Ecamm simultaneously in 4K, and I set my recordings folder to a Dropbox folder so they received the files in real time, y'all. It was a seamless process, and it made it extremely easy for us to work together. It's all about reducing friction, y'all. You've heard me talk about that before. So the second way I use Ecamm Live regularly is for pre-recording, y'all. So this is for content creation and course creation. So I pre-record right in the Ecamm for YouTube videos and Reels. So this simplifies my workflow. I don't have to use memory cards. I haven't used memory cards in literally years. My audio's already synced up, and I already have my picture settings and LUT applied inside of Ecamm, and I can record right into the folder that I'll be editing from in Final Cut Pro, so I don't have to move any files around. So last year I created 2 courses, and I did that entirely in Ecamm. It was a seamless process. The first course I did in about 48 hours. I set up my slides in advance, then I brought them into Ecamm, added my camera overlay, and I went through my material. And my second course is similar, but I set up a screen share inside of Ecamm so I can go through the material. So when it comes to course creation, I feel like there's no better option than Ecamm Live. And the cool thing is I was able to do it with minimal editing. So if you have a course, it eliminates a lot of the moving pieces that are usually required. And when you have a top tier looking course, you can charge accordingly. And the third way I regularly use Ecamm Live is for live streaming. So I stream here with you guys on Marshall Creates on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. If you haven't checked it out, you definitely want to join us live. I've also streamed my podcast live And when I do that, I use Ecamm Live's isolated audio feature, so I can just upload that audio to Red Circle, which pushes it out to the podcast platforms. And I've also used Ecamm Live extensively over the past 3 years to live stream and do feedback sessions inside of my Facebook groups for other designers. That was actually one of the first things I did when I joined the Ecamm Fam. So that's just one way it allowed me to show up as an authority inside of my group. So back in the fall, I did a 4-part video series on YouTube called the Recession Proof Designer Series. So I had a countdown, I had my branding and overlays created ahead of time. So again, authority, professional, high quality, increased confidence. These are the words that come to mind when I think about how I've used Ecamm over the past few years. So y'all gotta understand something. So we're used to this and we see this stuff all the time in the Ecamm Fam, but our audience hasn't. So they're impressed. And even if they haven't seen you and your uniqueness. So those are the 3 main ways that I've used Ecamm Live over the past 3 years, but actually using Ecamm is just the tip of the iceberg. We've got the Ecamm Live community. I'm part of the Ecamm Jedi Council. It's like a group of brothers. We got Doc Rock, we got KP, we got Kurt Nugent, Bradley, Marquis, Lemuel, got Elicio, and I've introduced countless people to Ecamm Live, including Elicio, Nikki and Moose, David Shands of the Brain Picker podcast, and tons of other folks. So if you're not in the Ecamm Fam, now's the time, okay? So I started to use Ecamm Live and it gave me instant credibility and a confidence boost. Like Coach Prime says, you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. You play good, they pay good. But this is just my story, which is one of many. I know people who have done amazing things with Ecamm. They travel and produce shows at churches and conferences with multiple cameras and overlays. But how have you used Ecamm Live? Let us know in the comments or in the Ecamm Live community on Facebook. So thanks for making it this far. Thank you for celebrating with me a little bit on my Ecamm-aversary. This video was helpful, entertaining, anything, let me know in the comments. Please drop a like and hit that subscribe button on the way out. I appreciate y'all and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.